Hey, coaches. So this week we're beginning our look at growth mindset, and mindset is really all the focus for the next 6 weeks. It's going to be at the core of what we are going to be doing. Over the next 6 weeks, we want to make sure that our questions, our acknowledgments, even the way we offer observations, we are promoting a growth mindset within our sessions and helping our clients better understand the value of a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. Now, within coaching, this can be a little bit difficult because we don't want to teach them growth and fixed mindset as much as highlight how they are demonstrating a growth mindset when they are. So, oftentimes in coaching, we are coaching around a certain situation, an event, a challenge, a behavior they want to change. And as they are growing, we can highlight, hey, this is your demonstration of what's called a growth mindset. However, with this session, I also want to introduce a tool or resource that a coach can leverage in order to promote a growth mindset through a narrative. When a client is coming to the coach and they are very unsure about how they're going to be successful, right? How are they going to pass the math test based on Carol Dweck's work? How are they going to be able to do this thing that they've never done before? And they're wanting the coach to give them some advice, some sort of nugget, some sort of takeaway so that they know how to do this thing that they've never done before. They need someone to guide them. Now, the difficulty really comes into play when no one can guide them. That's where coaching works best. But when a client comes to you and says, well, but I've never done this before, that's when this type of resource can be useful. And I've had that happen plenty of times. And what we want to avoid is this sense of fixed success and failure, that binary choice or result that this individual is afraid of. Instead, we want to look at growth. We want to promote a narrative about how this person has become an individual who can give it the best go without a map, without an instruction booklet. In order to do that, first, help them, or first, actually, as always, get permission to offer this as a tool. The outcome is that they will have a better sense of how they can be prepared and are prepared for this and what to remember as they begin this challenge or process or step into that room, whatever it is. How can they be best prepared mentally as they begin the work? So get that permission, offer it succinctly, and in partnership, begin the process. So, number one is to really clarify the core challenge. The core challenge isn't giving a presentation to the board, but it is being able to make an emotional connection with these board members that have scared them before or they don't know anything about. How do they make a connection because there's millions and millions of dollars on the line or many, many jobs on the line or the future of the company is on the line? And there's no one in the company who's going to be able to tell them how to best prepare for this conversation. Or maybe that core challenge, it's not going to their peer and making a request. It's playing a political game and being able to dance in the moment of a difficult conversation, knowing that many eyes will be on the results of this conversation and that it is a high stakes situation and they cannot afford to lose their cool. And yet they've never had a conversation with this high of stakes. Whatever the challenge might be, help them to clarify the reality, the core challenge. It's not the thing they're doing, but it's a mix between the thing that's happening, what's at stake, and how that hits them emotionally. So there needs to be some good work there. And sometimes just in clarifying a challenge, you see this with agenda setting. Sometimes in the agenda setting, sometimes in clarifying the core of the challenge, we get the answer in coaching. They get an answer. But if it needs to continue, then we can ask them questions about what qualities will they need to demonstrate most in the given situation. What are the characteristics, the attitude, the values, overall their qualities, the character qualities that they will most need to show up with? I need to show up with courage and confidence and clarity. Well, I've got my 3 C's now. But how do I remember that? I've never needed to have confidence at this level before. I've never needed to demonstrate creativity in a space where no one's come up with a solution for this. How am I supposed to? But we need creativity, we need confidence, and so on. Help them voice 2, maybe 3 qualities that they will have to show up with to the best of their ability. And what just that little bit does, it does take them out of the situation itself, and it does look at who they are. Again, that further clarity and creating awareness, that might be all we need to do. At that point, step 2, looking at their qualities that they need to show, step back, ask about what are they learning about the situation and how they need to show up. If they need to continue, then we can look at the narrative, the story. And this is really where things shift from a normal coaching session. The coach is going to take more direction, and you're going to want to run this part fully, usually, but fully through, and then reflect on the result. So here, you're going to want to capture stories, events from the past that have not demonstrated their ability to do the thing, but have been good demonstrations, the best demonstrations of those qualities. So looking in your past, where have you demonstrated creativity where there's been no answer? And it doesn't have to be related to a project in engineering even, but where have you demonstrated creativity, your favorite experience of doing that where there was no solution, no one else had eyes on it? Okay, capture that, write it down. What's another one like that? So another way of doing the capturing, you can look for consistency. Where in your life have you consistently demonstrated creativity? And you continue to push yourself with creativity over and over and over again, even though no one else was being as creative as you. It doesn't have to be necessarily no one is being as creative as you, but you get the idea that this individual is in this way demonstrating creativity for a long period of time, and they grew in their quality of creativity through that experience, and that's so important. Where have you demonstrated confidence and courage consistently in your life and grown through those experiences so that you've developed a bit more confidence and courage? It doesn't have to be about a board meeting, just in general in life. Now, a third way of unearthing the narrative in these events is to look at first. What's the first experience you remember where your creativity was really challenged and you realized, wow, there's no right answer here. Let me give it a shot. What was that experience like for you? What is it like reflecting on that now? And so on. So now, as a coach, you have this bit of a narrative. And I would encourage you to string things together. You do want to have a variety, not just looking at one event. Ideally, you have a variety of things. You can go back to that first event and just ask permission to retell or to let them know. I'm going to retell the story just in parts. Early on, so many years ago, you had this event. No one else had the right answer. You demonstrated creativity in this way. And ever since then, you've consistently grown in your creativity in these ways. And reflecting back on the past few years, your greatest triumph of creativity is to do this event, to have accomplished this thing and stretching yourself in that moment. What is it like reflecting on the story of your qualities, creativity in this case? How has that narrative, and this is kind of the key question of inquiry, how has this story prepared you to demonstrate creativity with this challenge that you're facing now? How has this past 10 years prepared you to be the creative or courageous or confident person you need to be tomorrow? And from there, it's really a coaching space. Oftentimes, after this type of tool, it's a perspective shifting tool, you would go on to look at how can they remember the story? You can also ask them questions of what impact does this have on their confidence in being able to achieve what they're going to do. And you can always check in on if they have some sort of awareness, like the aha, shifting moment. What are you learning about who you are and the challenge you're facing? Really connect those dots. You can also carry the narrative forward if you'd like. As you continue to grow through this really difficult challenge that has no right answer, what do you imagine this doing for your creativity and development in creativity over the next 5 years? Who will you become through this challenge, in other words? This opens up hope. This opens up the sense of it's not about right or wrong. It's about continuing the struggle that I have struggled well through over the past so many years, and I want to do more in this area. So it's just another opportunity, another dragon to face in my adventure with these qualities. And it becomes less about the dragon and more about the hero or heroine who is facing the dragon and how they have become the individual who can do so. In many ways, this is what coaching does as a whole, from our first session to the end of coaching. We are helping the individual realize that they might have thought it was about the challenge, the situation they're bringing, the job search, the promotion process, or whatever it is. They thought it was about that. They thought it was the dragon. They found out it was about themselves. And at the end of a coaching experience, as you reflect on the narrative of their overall coaching growth and journey, they get to see who they've become. That's the growth mindset we want to promote. And cultivating the sense of the narrative around qualities can help do so, especially when they're stuck. They don't know exactly how they're going to overcome this thing. We should get excited when the client says, I've never done this thing. So how am I supposed to do it now? Okay, great. That situation is where coaching is, we're made for that as coaches. We're made to serve a person where no one else can give them advice. Thank you so much for stretching yourself and growing yourself through the journey so far as coaches. Continue to do so. We've got a lot of lives to impact.